It's July 2nd and I am back to do my planning video, homeschool planning video for the upcoming 2015-16 school year. We do school year round, but usually in June is when I break them and regroup and come up with a plan for next year, grade level wise, just up the material and the content, and I really sit down and focus on my lists of needs, wants, just everything. In this binder here are list upon list of things that I plan on purchasing, have already purchased. I'm looking at things like that. But I will, this is actually going to be a two-part video. I'm only going to show the actual lesson plan in this video. I had it done and I kind of forgot getting other videos done, but somebody actually sent me a text yesterday asking how I planned, and yeah, so I said, oh my goodness, I need to get this video done. I've been finished already, so thank you for reminding me for that. But the second video will be actually more or less on organizing, how I stay organized, which is very helpful. You have 2, 3, 4 kids, 5 kids, having multiple kids like myself, different grade levels, different ages, and then other kids on top of just the ones that are currently homeschooled. It's chaos. So I have to stay organized in some sort of way. I used to do a lot of things online, but I don't have the time to just run in and enter things as needed. I find that writing them down and laying them out helps me best. A-type personality. I have to have a plan. Even though we may not stick to it in whole, at least it's there and I know which direction I'm headed. But I can say some days we're just like everybody else. We have sick kids, we have appointments, we have interruptions, phone calls, we have meltdowns, things like that. So some days I may not even pick this book up. Some days they're just playing with blocks, or they're painting, or they're coloring, playing with Play-Doh, and we're fine. As long as they're happy and fed, we're not worried about the lesson plan. It may be just a discussion or something they're watching on TV, and I know they're still growing and learning. But I have to, like I said, I have to have some sort of plan, because I don't like to always fly by the seat of my pants, so to speak, because then I just go haywire myself, and yeah, that's not good, because I'm outnumbered here. So yeah, anywho, let me show you my resources before I start so it'll make sense. Okay, for the twins, they'll be what's it called? They'll be 5 November 8th. They have late birthdays, and so in part homeschooling them, I wouldn't send them to kindergarten anyway because it's really not needed. And but in our state, they wouldn't even go to school until they were 7, and I just think that's just ridiculous. They would be almost 7 years old, and they would be too far behind. And I don't want that. I had one child that started when she was 4. So now she's 18 and she's a sophomore in college, which is excellent. I think I started when I was 6. because I had a November birthday. My birthday is on the 4th. And I was well above grade level. And I don't want to retard them like that. And if you've been following, I had them in a private preschool. Excellent program for 2 years. So they had 2 solid years of preschool. So they're already, they're up there. And basically the reason they were in preschool is because in the private preschool was because dealing with my son and his behavior issues, very time consuming. I was working outside the home, but that $2,300 bill a month, yeah, that's gotta find a means for an end. So anyway, we are, let's see, probably 2 more months, 3 more months of this, we'll be out of this book and on to the first grade one. We're just pretty much reviewing things at this point. A couple more things I just want to introduce before we move on and make sure that they actually have everything on point according to their scope and sequence. And then for the preschoolers, they're 3 and 19 months. We're revisiting the preschool book. So I have things in here incorporated for them. If you want to see a video on how what I actually do for them, just leave me a comment. But you can see pretty much in the videos I make, they do a lot of things as a whole. I just break it up down to their level, and that's how we do it, so that they don't get bored. But I focus on everybody's needs at some point. And then I have books to build on. This goes up to the 6th grade. Excellent resources. I've used this forever. Whatever books I need, I buy. And you guys know I'm Newberry, Caldecott, those type of books. Some of the books we may not have. I feel we don't need them, but a lot of them in here are top books. I use them with my older kids, and so I go back and say, okay, did you remember? Was this helpful? You know, things like that. I don't want to use content that is just pointless to use, just for the sake of using it. The weekly curriculum book, 52 complete preschool themes. Still, first grade, up to first grade, there's a lot of stuff in here that you can tailor to fit your needs. It's something I recommended in the Getting Started with Homeschooling videos, I think in March or April. But this book is broken down by topic. It's broken down by week. You can do a weekly lesson. You introduce the lesson, and then each day you do something related to that lesson. But also there's different headings. You can see it's under art. There's blocks. This one's a classroom visitor. Okay, that's the 2nd week of school. Games and outdoors, music. There's field trips. There's cooking. There's science. And so you will see how I incorporated that. Some of them are 2 categories. This one, it may be art and music. It may be science and math. There's a book recommendation list in here. So we still use this. I have been using this. I sometimes may not have done each individual thing in here, so that's why I'm going back. We may have only done the first part of the lesson. So then there's a 2nd part, 3rd, 4th part. So sequence and ordinal numbers. Some of this I may felt like, okay, they're too young to understand this. or they did it while they were in school. See, a lot of the stuff they will say, we already know this, we already did this. So anywho, let me get started. Basic 3 subject notebook. I have tons of these, and I will be buying tons more. My pens, highlighters, I try to keep 1 or 2 hidden in here so that they don't get them, because they seem to go ghost really fast. Okay, here we have weekly activities, and this is more or less what I pulled from the preschool curriculum book. And here I have K. That's from what your kindergartner needs to know. That means in art there's something that correlates. So we will use both of those books to reference. Language is the category it's under. S, that will be science and art, math, science. And so I have highlighted numbers over here. I will get into that once I get to the end. But this is basically what I'm going to, by week we'll do one of these activities. They're not in any particular order. You see Earth Day, that's April. National Pancake Day, that's not until March. So they're not in an order. I just needed to have them out so I can decide which one will go on. I may just ask them, okay, what do we want to learn about today? Okay, we did some art yesterday. We did not pick up the book and do any art per se. It was just them painting, and it was raining. But we're actually going to sit down and do the curriculum on it. Okay. Next, I have 2015-16 year by week, and then I broke it down by subject, what your kindergartner needs to know. And I basically am following the outline in that book. So page by page, topic by topic, we are going to cover by week. Poetry, Aesop's fables, what is an illustrator, what is an author, the sayings, and I write down the page number so I don't have to fumble through the book. History, and then we have a tie-in here, the Joy Hakeem series for Javen. He's my 13-year-old. I showed his curriculum yesterday. So that means we need to incorporate his things in here. So when we get to these particular topics in his history books, we will read those pages and discuss those pages. They're not in any particular order yet, as we are still actually working on Africa. We may move from Africa and move on to something else. It just depends, but right now they're really focused on Africa. So we'll probably just stay there for a little bit, and then next month I will actually move them into world history, so we can kind of change the genre, because he needs to do his lesson. And then we have North America, South America, Australia, Antarctica. So those are the points, and like I said, I wrote down just the page numbers. And then we have some tie-in questions about the continents. And I pull out all my resources, maps, atlases, any other content related material, and we just use that. American history and geography, the first Americans, and then again you see Joy Hakeem. That's actually the first book, and he's on this book now, or my 13-year-old. So I know to tie that in with their lesson. We may get into some Happy Birthday America because of the Independence Day coming up. We may do something on that. Maybe just art and craft. And then we have art. We have sculptures and monuments. The haul I did last week with the plasters. Okay, those are going to be their sculptures for now. and the modeling kits, things like that. So they have art that they have to create. Music. We will cover different genres of music. Math. We're going to get into patterns and classification, alike and different, numbers and counting. A lot of this stuff we've already touched on. We just have to go deeper into it. And more math. Money. Computation, measurement, time, geometry. Where is it? Using words of position, direction, up, down, to, front, behind, you know, that type of thing. So that they will be ready to move on to the next grade level. So probably about December is when I'll evaluate the twins. Excuse me. Okay, science. We do different science experiments, but science is a lot of it is book based, where we do a lot of discussions. We'll do crafts and things like that. So that's what that is. And then we will get into pets, the human body, taking care of the earth, recycling, magnetism, and scientist. We'll be talking about different scientists and what they do, what they invented, and we'll, you know, pull the things that we have. We'll pull things out and talk about that. And say, hey, this is, you know, this was invented. They know, I mean, they're really bright kids. They already know a lot of this stuff, but just basic things like the traffic light, you know, the can opener, you know, everyday things that we use. That's stuff like that. But they like to go more in depth of, okay, what is the factory? What, you know, who made this machine? What machine does this and does that? And yeah, they're that type of kid. So they watch a lot of Food Network and the Who. I guess where they show in the factories how things are processed and things like that. They watch stuff like that. And then we always do bi-weekly. Every week we discuss famous people and famous places in history, and we do a unit study. So we try to keep the unit study to a week, but it just depends on what the topic is. So that is it. KISS, keep it short and simple. Okay, going back to these colored points. Okay, so we have number 24. We have number 24. So that means I need to go over here to 24 because that was art. And then I correlated it back to number 1, sculptures and monuments. So I know that there's a tie-in in both of those books. That kindergarten book and that weekly curriculum book. Number 44, the senses, 5 senses. The human body. Okay. Let's see. Number 32, Wiggle Your Toes. That's in that preschool curriculum book. 32. There it is. Measurement. Okay, it's a actual hands and feet, where we will draw hands and feet and use them to measure things. 46, Earth Day. Recycling. Okay, my kids are heavy into recycling right now, so we're probably going to have to bring this up and get on this, because a lot of my packages that are arriving recycling, so they are very curious about that. But this is pretty much it for my son, my 13-year-old. I don't have anything written out for him yet. I am going to get to his actual lesson plan, but pretty much what I do for him is try to follow daily, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by the page, because to skip around really doesn't help him. He needs consistency. I tie him in our lessons in history, and in geography and science. So that's when they come together. Whatever art we do is also a tie-in. His reading and language arts and things like that, he has to do on his own. But I also have a whole separate reading curriculum that I do, and I have asked somebody to do a collab with me. So we should have that the videos up sometime next week on what curriculum I actually use for them for reading. I used it for the little kids or the big kids when they were younger. I even used it when I was in elementary, and it works. What else was I going to say on that? I just lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. As far as separating them, we do workstations. You guys, I did, I think, maybe one video, probably last month. We had different workstations set up, and I will set different workstations up throughout the room. And at some point in the day, I send everybody for a break, and I take one child, and I will sit with them 15-20 minutes and focus. Like the twins, we're working on reading. I teach them separately. They are following the same plan, doing the same things on the same day, but I have them in here individually so I can see what their strengths and weaknesses are, making sure that they're just not sitting here left out. And I do all of them like that. I'll take the baby and do, whatever it is. I'll let her pull out whatever, and then I'll work with her to see where I should focus with her. It's not too structured with her because, as you guys see, that's a pretty bright kid for her age. She makes me wonder sometimes. The 3-year-old is the one that I'm questioning. She's a lot more stubborn and resistant, but she did great when she was in public or private preschool. Not saying she's not doing great now, but she's shy. And she's just now coming out. She's turned 3. Her and the 13-year-old share a birthday, but she's just now wanting to engage in learning. She's asking more questions. What's this? What's this? What's this? So we're just now into recognizing letters and numbers and things like that. And I don't push them. If they want to do, they will do. If they don't want to do, then I don't worry about it. I let them pretty much foster their own creativity. But I have to some days really sit and focus with her because there are things that she needs to have as a foundation. Is where I'm going. Like we're going to work on the drawing lines and things like that. Her fine motors. A lot of it may not be book work. It may be manipulative. So that's pretty much that's how we roll around here. I don't have a lot of time to sit and do a drastic amount. It's not necessary. Either they get it or they don't. And we work on it. It's a process. I'm not saying that they will advance lightning speed. Not all kids. A lot of kids need a lot of repetition, and we do a lot of repetition, but the majority of our learning is just discussion and reading books. We will just sit and read books. So stay tuned for the next video. It won't be quite as long, but it will contain things that are in this binder that keep me organized. Hope you found this helpful. Leave me some comments, thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll be back.